Hello and welcome to today's book chat. Today I'm talking about the memoir They Said This Would Be Fun by Eternity Martis. My apologies if I'm pronouncing her name wrong. And subtitle Race, Campus Life, and Growing Up. So I feel kind of funny referring to this as a memoir, and I'm not sure if that's how it's technically referred to because it's so much more than that. Martis goes into um, data, statistics, examples of systemic and institutionalized racism, culturally accepted racism. That that seems like such an odd phrase to say, but I think it's shown, it's true, an example. So before I get ahead of myself, this is the story of a young woman who grew up in Toronto with a multiracial background, and for university attends Western in London, Ontario, where suddenly she has become one of a very few number of Black people. And in her life before this move, she didn't necessarily define herself as Black or need to. The multiracial aspect was what was certainly more prominent. And then, and I think this is an experience that many people have had when you're in an environment where society defines you by your Blackness. Sometimes that's the first time that people really think about it or consider themselves as Black, because then that definition is kind of forced to become your own. And I don't want to say forced and imply that's in a negative way, but it's in an interesting way. So this was an incredibly thoughtful and thought-provoking read. As you can see, I have a lot of tabs. There's just like underlined throughout huge sections of the text. And I think that this is a book that should be required reading on all Canadian campuses, honestly, because there's probably very few campuses where there wouldn't be some Black students or of color. And whether you're in a campus that has a lot or a few, I'm sure there's a lot in this book that would resonate and that would be important for people both of color and of white backgrounds to know about and think about. She also talks a lot about domestic or partner abuse, sexual abuse and assault, which affects people of all backgrounds and ethnicities. And yeah, it was an incredible book, and I didn't expect to get emotional as I was talking about this. In the depth and the way that she discusses navigating white spaces as a person of color, and particularly as a Black person, the definition of Blackness, and how sometimes it's hard for us to choose that for ourselves because it's placed upon us, and what that means to us and how we operate and present in the world. How difficult in so many situations, and especially campus ones, it is for a Black person or person of color to feel safe. And yeah, it's a moving, heartbreaking, brilliant work of writing. There'll be times probably when you've got to put it down. And I would say just make sure you pick it back up again. I'm actually going to read a passage. There's so many passages in here that really resonated with me and spoke to me, and that I think are so important to have been written and in there, out in the world for people to see and read. This one. We don't get an automatic welcome to the party. We are constantly having to prove that we deserve an invitation. I'm skipping over a little bit. For many of us, the misinformed message of respectability, trying to show that we aren't a stereotype and that our values and currency are on par with white people's, is reiterated by our parents, our churches, and communities. If we achieve this, we are told, we will be welcomed by white people. If we act more like them, we will get half as far. Being respectable means that as a child and a young adult, acting foolish isn't an option. We must act right, talk right, keep ourselves grounded, even as our white counterparts dance in a bar or jump up in the air and push each other during their favorite EDM song like they're in a mosh pit. We know that one wrong move will undo all our hard work. One wrong move could be labeled suspicious. It could get us taken down by bouncers. It could get us arrested or tasered. It could get us killed. When white people behave badly, it's an individual trait. When people of color misbehave, it's a problem with the entire race. I've said it already and I'll say it again. This is a really important book, and I was really lucky through my university experience. I had minimal of the experiences that Eternity had, and I knew people who had it worse. I had enough not great ones that I guess it just shouldn't have happened. And I hope when I think of my nieces and nephew, my daughter, when they are going through this world and having to navigate the definitions of race and color and their proximity to whiteness, their ability to exist in the world and be able to define themselves for themselves, I hope things are better, and I think books like this are going to help make it better. So yeah, if you've read it, head over to my website or anywhere you're watching this. Let me know what you think. If you haven't and you do, I would love to know what you think. They said this would be fun by attorney Martis, and yeah, I really think this book or books like it should, if they're not already, be required reading on Canadian campuses, and I think it would change a lot and help make those campuses a better and safer place, which in turn will help make our world a better and safer place, because these are the people who are going to lead our society. So yeah, charlenecarr.com, and pick up this book.